Percy Jackson time.
Yes. Another
Not only
great
do
episode.
you love this show, Horizontal, our viewers appear to love this show because everything we've done relating to Percy Jackson we've done very well. So clearly the people want more of it.
Yes, and I mean, I think that's showing how strong the Percy Jackson fandom is.
Yeah, I knew it was there, but they were very dormant.
Yeah, they've just been sat waiting for like the time.
Absolutely that. They've 100% been sat there going, one day they will know our power.
Yeah, one day they'll make a proper show for us.
My first major takeaway from this episode, Edge is a really good actor.
Yeah.
You look a little bit lost. Were you not a wrestling fan growing up?
No, I was not.
So the
but
person who played Ares.
Yeah, I guessed who you meant.
WWE's Edge.
I wasn't a wrestling fan.
Yeah, so my brother's a massive wrestling fan, so as a result, I grew up.
That's why I kind of recognised his face a little bit.
I knew that he was playing Ares in the show, and I was like, it's a decent casting. I get why they've done it.
Yeah.
He really showed us some decent acting chops. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
I was really, really impressed. I think he added a lot to the episode. The characterization of him, I don't know what he was like in the books because he was omitted from the film. I really liked. I thought it was really cool. The way him and Grover kind of, and I said last week, Grover's due like a big thing. The little back and forth between him and Grover was really, really cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and also like
war of the words almost.
Yeah, and Grover showing he's smart, like his cleverness in I do think he may slightly have been a fan of Ares, but also using that clearly to try and like get some information out of him a little bit.
Yeah.
Which was very cool to see.
Yeah, so obviously my entire knowledge of the Percy Jackson universe comes from the films that I now know were very poorly received and everything back when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see obviously the differences. Ares was completely non-existent from that film.
I don't.
And the story with Gabe reporting him to the police happened at a slightly different time. So it was after they cut off Medusa's head,
right,
that they started being chased by the police.
Yeah.
And then a maid came to knock on their door at a motel, and she saw their head in the bathroom, and then it all kicked off.
Right. Okay.
So that was really interesting. To see the differences in that and how Ares kind of used that opportunity to try and get something out of the situation, and once again show how the gods are always kind of just using people.
Yeah, always playing for themselves.
Exactly, and like he says it in uncertain terms, like this family is full of backstabbing, conniving, horrible people who will do anything to get a leg up.
Yeah, and he even like more so kind of lays out a harsher truth about the gods and being like, you aren't going to stop a war. Like a war's happening. Like you think you're going to stop it? Nah, the war will happen. The gods do what they want. They lie and deceive people and never tell you the full story.
It's time for a war. It's just that time of the loop that we keep doing for all eternity. I was really impressed with some of the acting from these young actors in this episode with regards to the dawning realization of Percy of how serious everything actually is.
Yeah.
But also Annabeth and Grover becoming more emotionally invested in Percy and like we need to lock in. Seeing the fates was really cool.
Yes. Seeing the fates, and that like I picked up on it, and do you know why I picked up on it? Because of Ahsoka. And we talked about them in Ahsoka not that long ago. So like that like imagery of the whole thread thing, I was like, hang on, that feels like the like the string. And then when she says, "Oh, I saw the fates," I'm like, okay, it was.
I saw the one with scissors first. Obviously, they're all sat there together. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I saw the other two. I was like, oh wait, they're the fates.
Yeah,
it was really, really cool.
It was a clever way of doing it.
It shows a lot of character development because back in episode 3, episode 2, Annabeth wouldn't have said what she'd seen. She
No,
wouldn't
she
have
probably
shared that
wouldn't. No.
information. And it also showed a bit of a humanization of the gods when Percy was trapped in the chair, and Annabeth kind of
Yes.
was like, "We don't want to be like you. We want to be better than you. We don't want to do this backstabbing. We want to work together and be collaborative and be better
Mhm.
versions of ourselves." And he was kind of like, maybe we want that as well." And then he released them.
Yeah, it's kind of like she hit on that emotion where he like of who he used to be
Yeah,
and how he wanted to be loved by some of the other gods, and it's like he obviously realized in that moment, I have become no better than the rest of them.
yeah. It's almost this thing like you got to remember the gods are supposed to be thousands, if not millions, of years old.
Mm,
And it can be so easy, even if you try not to get stuck in a loop after that amount of time. It goes back to what Ares was saying. It was like we do a war, then we all get over it, and then a couple thousand years later we'll do it again, and we'll do it again,
yeah.
and it just keeps on going in this loop. And as with all cycles of violence and abuse and anything that is bad, that can get caught in a cycle, it needs someone to break it and go no. And it's kind of
Mm,
like a microcosm of what the three of them are trying to achieve anyway. The loop
yeah.
of someone getting punished at all times was broken by Annabeth saying, "No, this isn't right. We need to be better."
Hmm.
And that is exactly what the three of them are trying to achieve by going to get the Master Bolt and taking it to the gods. They want to go get it, give it back, and be like, "You've got to be better than this. Why?
Just stop
Why are
trying
you
to
trying to
fight.
backstab? Why are you trying to have a war? Just
Yeah.
fucking talk. All these thousands of years, and you've not tried therapy once. Get a life."
Yeah, it was an interesting to see. Um I really enjoyed that whole like into the fairground. I thought it was a very cool way of that god having the fairground and what he was using, then obviously tracking if a demigod or something went in. It's all very smart, very cool.
Yes,
We
very much
also
so.
got a tease of what we talked about a couple of weeks ago of being excited to see
Yes,
of the
the Lotus
Lotus
Casino.
Hotel, yeah, the Lotus Hotel Casino, whatever, and that's where they're going.
Yeah.
So I think next week's going to be a very trippy episode.
I hope so. I hope so. I feel like I haven't seen too much of the discourse because I'm not plugged into that side of Twitter too much. But
Hmm.
I'm really curious to know what the fans of the books felt like about the representation of the Lotus Casino in the first film, because I think that bit still holds up really well.
Yeah, that's like
But I'll
considering
be
that's like
curious to
one
see
of the
how it
few
goes.
things I remember.
Yeah, it was a really cool characterization of it, and I'll be curious to see what the show does, and how well that progresses the story. But we
Yeah.
are getting closer towards the end of this journey.
Mm.
Um, and I'm really, really curious to see if at any point you mention anything that I know for a fact happens that I don't know if you see coming at all, which is interesting.
Well, right now I don't know what the fuck you're on about, so I'm gonna go with no, I don't see it coming.
Yeah, I think they've done a very good job. Bearing in mind, like, most of the people who are watching this are going to be fans of the book,
Mm. And know what's
or a
coming.
lot of them, especially who were watching like from day one, are going to be people who know the story already. It's it's interesting how it's being handled, and I'm curious to see how it continues to be handled going forward.
Okay.